Hello and welcome to the Time Attack Final. This is the one we've all been waiting for, where our drivers score the big championship points. Well, hopefully, if they finish where they want, then they will be scoring some serious points. We had qualifying shortly before, where our drivers could score some points, half points, and the final is the one where really it's all to play for. What have we seen so far? We've seen a few recurring names be particularly quick throughout the day, in the form of Samuel Pickering, in Mitsubishi Colts of Simon Norris and Neil Greenland, the Porsche 911 GT3 of David Dyson, Russ Walker in the BMW M4, who's on your screens right now, very quick indeed in the Club 2-wheel drive machine. There you go, Russ Walker machine in qualifying, and a very fast and experienced driver indeed. Then we have the Team Confusion Ford Fusion of Mike Sanford, that Honda-powered Ford Fusion, again riding along, just tracking their Russ Walker in the BMW M4. The Russ Sport machine, number 5, Club 2-wheel drive, very fast entry indeed. It's a 15-minute session. Not quite the full 20 minutes that some drivers are used to from other Time Attack rounds, and of course what that means is our drivers have even less time to try to string together that one perfect lap that they hope could net them that win. Natalie Brooks in the F80 chassis BMW, you can see weaving up and down the just coming onto the Brooks straight through Clark Curve, trying to get some heat into those Pirelli Trofeo R's, the Time Attack Club Control tire. Our pro cars are at liberty to run Pirelli slicks, and they believe they have a bit of a choice there, but all of our club cars must run the Pirelli Trofeo R road legal track tire cut slick. And there you go, Natalie Brooks then just trying to get some heat into those. Drivers tell me, and of course based on my own experience, they do switch on pretty quickly within 1 or 2 laps. And Natalie Brooks in the faster machine, running on low boost earlier in the day, with 600 horsepower being low boost, and able to just, with a switch of a button, go up to 740 horsepower. Luckily for all involved, especially Natalie Brooks in the rear-wheel drive, very powerful machine. The weather has remained tame. Let's have a look at how our timings are then. You can see there's not very much to read into just yet. Let's perhaps take a look at some of the cars that we've got with us here today. We've also got a interesting addition to the fold, Andrew Hawes in the Tarox Brakes Mini Challenge 210. This particular car packing a hybrid turbo, putting out around 306 horsepower through a wave track differential, all held together and kept nice and tight and solid by a 12-point Tyler Motorsport cage. And of course, one of the few minis that we have here, the mini platform, is very popular for track work. We do, of course, also have the Mini Cooper S Coupe of Nicholas Stott, 980 kilograms with driver, 280 horsepower, Quaife differential, and the teammate of David Lawrence in the Leon Cupra with its BTCC discs and pads and 470 horsepower. And you can see there 2 Honda-powered machines then. The one of Michael Birch in the Tegiwa Racing Honda Civic, and the other car of Mike Sanford, the Team Confusion Ford Fusion. Both of these sharing big Honda power. Well, big Honda power for an unassuming looking chassis, of course. We've seen, of course, that that big power really doesn't have much of it, especially given that we're sharing the paddock with some drift cars, putting on an incredible show earlier today. So let's just follow these 2 Honda-powered pocket rockets around. as they come onto Graham Hill. There we go, down the Cooper Straight, and now coming into Surtees do these two fast little Hondas. And let's take a look. You may see how busy the track is. I don't know, look at and they're also multicolored. It's really like just tipping a bag of Skittles down the track. And you'll see from the entry list just how overpopulated this, and just how healthy this grid is today. I don't even want to count them, there's just too many. And of course we've put that on one of our shortest circuits on the calendar. Sam Pickering there on your screens in the BC Racing machine, having made the move from Run Whitney Brung into Club 4-wheel drive and instantly jumping right to the top of the timing screens. Very fast driver indeed in his home brew Easy Composites Subaru Impreza. It's a build that I follow with a lot of interest. You know, he just thought, look, I've done everything I can, at least all of the cost-effective things. I've made this Subaru as fast as it'll go. I want to get hands-on. Let's start making some carbon fiber panels. And so he buddied up with Easy Composites, and now the car you see today, having followed it over a few years, has been increasingly being paneled in carbon. And now pretty much a big chunk of the car is now carbon bodied, all DIY. And it's just, that's what we like to see in Time Attack, is people just, you know, really pushing the boundaries with the DIY approach. You know, they think, look, these other cool cars have got that. I want to go faster. I'm just going to build that myself. And so that's really the ethos behind a lot of the cars we see here. And in fact, Sam Pickering then leapfrogging absolutely everybody to go fastest of all with a 52.8. Very fast indeed, and just ahead of Ross 2.8, 6 thousandths of a second separate Pickering and Walker. Arturus Uxurius doing pretty well too, currently running third overall and second in Club 4-wheel drive with a 54.0 ahead of Kevin Thieker and Johnny Fletcher in the 2 Mach 4 Astras. These guys have been rivals for a very long time in a very similar chassis. They're Time Attack legends, these two. And you can see on your screen then the car of Neil Greenland, the number 118 Mitsubishi Colt. And these Colts have proven themselves to be incredibly formidable here in Time Attack, not only in Pocket Rocket, which they were in last year, but also in Club 2-wheel drive. Whatever these Mitsubishi Colts touch, they seem to just pulverize. It's like a Midas touch, but of destruction. There you go. You can use that one. And there we go. Let's have a look then at what's going on here. Again, you can just see the crowds here. Key part of finishing well in the final today is going to be not only putting together that quick lap, but doing so whilst also navigating your way around a particularly trafficked up circuit. Let's have a look at how our drivers are doing then. Pickering still running in Uxurius. Kevin Fletcher and, oh, hang on, there we go. There's Kevin Thieker and then Johnny Fletcher. Following that we have Neil Greenland. And then we have the Honda Integra. The Honda Integra currently running 7th overall, 5th in class 2-wheel drive. There you go, you can see the order jumping all over the place because he has just been displaced by the Caterham. There we go, the Caterham of Jonathan Ellsworth, gaining loads of positions there, putting himself 4th overall and 3rd in Club 2-wheel drive with a 53.9. This Caterham Super Sport that we looked at a little bit earlier today, running a much more ambitious spec for this year. Nearly 200 horsepower in a car weighing just over half a ton is a real formidable opponent for anyone in Club 2-wheel drive. So of course, we can see it then, currently on a provisional podium in Club 2-wheel drive, 4th overall, the number 92 machine of Jonathan Ellsworth. There you go, here they come, Andrew Kime. Then we have Hayden King in the Seat Leon, just ahead of the number 64 machine of Johnny Fletcher, the Duranza Vauxhall Astra GSI. And here on your screens then we have the Tiguan racing machine of Michael Birch, the Honda Civic EK shape. From what I understand, this is an EP3 Honda Civic Type R powered machine. And just looking out across on to the Cooper Strait, oh my goodness, there is traffic for days. There you go, David Dyson, they're making his way past Eden Young and the Gizfab Micra K11. Just slicing through that traffic is David Dyson, a driver who has typically been very fast in Club 2-wheel drive, and perhaps just getting a little bit frustrated today. And at the bottom of your screens, then you can see the Nissan 350Z of Terry Hills. The Fairlady Z is actually an import machine, a Z33 chassis, and pretty interesting thing to bring to a speed event. But I think with everything else now being tried and tested, Terry Hills thought he'd do something a little bit different and brought out this Fairlady Z. Largely standard, but you know, typical track day build. Loads of weight stripped out. Actually, what's really cool is it's got a Nismo 1.5 way differential, and it was once a welded diff machine, so it has no traction control, no ABS, although now it does have a proper mechanical LSD. And that's really one of my favorite additions to the grid this year, with its Nismo body kit and all that stuff. I talk too much about Nissans, do apologize. But let's just have a look then. Terry Hills currently running in 23rd overall, second in Clubman Plus. So good work there from Terry Hills in the Z33 chassis Nissan. And on your screens then you've got the E92 shape BMW M3, the machine of Mike Butler, the number 50 JC performance car. Mike Butler currently running in 12th overall, 8th in Club 2-wheel drive. Club 2-wheel drive again being a very, very popular class, and I think really most cars out there would have them quite extensively. They just all kind of become encapsulated by the Club 2-wheel drive rulebook. And so for that reason, we see this class year on year being popular, because really, you know, to be in Clubman, you need to have done very minimal modifications like the car of Terry Hills that we just saw. Anything beyond that pretty much puts you in Club 2-wheel drive. So we see loads of people in this particular class. It's hotly contested. You see Sam Pickering going faster still, leading the time screen with a 51.9. Ahead still of Ross Walker with a 52.8. So Ross Walker seeming to have really found a lot of pace to manage to take on the Mitsubishi Colts. And Neil Greeland then third fastest overall and second fastest in Club 2-wheel drive in his Mitsubishi Colt with a 53.1. And just as we enter the final minute of the session, in fact, the checkered flag has already come out. Let's take a look at our running order then from the final of Time Attack, Clubman, Club, and Pocket Rocket sessions. Fastest of all then, Samuel Pickering, making that leap of faith from Run What You Brung, backing himself and coming straight into the Time Attack Championship. Fastest in Club 4-wheel drive and fastest in this session with a 51.9. So big welcome points there for Samuel Pickering. Then we have Ross All right, Susie, I think you might have something for us there. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm down here in the pit lane. Talking with Colin Dorwood. Do you just want to tell us how your day has gone so far?
My day's been fine up until we had a tyre failure. So yeah, disappointed not being able to get out in the final after some pretty good laps and pretty fast times, and I was just really getting into the groove. It's the first time I've been here, and I was actually hoping to pump everybody and get the fastest lap of the day.
But this is your first time coming to Brands at all?
Yes, it is, yeah.
I mean, that's an incredible pace for that. So, I mean, what's the secret?
I find the circuit quite familiar to where I normally race. So, yeah, and the car's awesome. So,
where do you normally race?
I normally race up at Knock Hill. Yeah.
And so you just had a puncture during qualifying?
Exactly, yeah. I was just getting things hooked up and the tyre let go. So the Pirelli guys are onto it, so we can only wait and see.
So unfortunately not back out for the final, but out tomorrow?
Yes, yeah. They're bringing some tyres over for tomorrow. So.
Excellent. So unfortunate for the final, but hopefully we'll see you back out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks, Susie. Actually, it's really interesting that you managed to catch Colin there, because he just appeared in Time Attack and suddenly was just faster than everyone, apart from the purpose-built GT3 factory machine. Really impressive stuff, and I think it was really telling how he just said, well, I was just hoping to beat everyone, really. Like, you don't often hear that kind of honesty, where people are usually like, I just want to come and find my feet and put in some quick laps and hopefully not be last, you know? He was just like, no, I came here to be the quickest, and I love that approach. Unfortunately, then, we've just heard that his running has been cut short. He's been absolutely flying all day, has Colin Dorwood in the Mitsubishi Evolution, the track formula machine Evo 9. It was pretty much between him and Phil Reed in the Paceward Nismo GT3, two very different machines, yet running pretty closely, both at the top of our leaderboard. However, for today, clearly it was not to be. Colin then appears sidelined for the remainder of this session. Perhaps he'll be back tomorrow. Currently at the top of the timing screen then, we have Andrew Barber, fellow Scot, traveled 12 hours to get here, and thus probably extra keen to really wring every second, every single molecule of speed out of his car to make this trip worthwhile. And Andrew Barber then in the number 88 car, fastest of all so far. Bearing in mind, oh, we've got a car off. This is the number 81 machine. That's in a pretty unfortunate place. This is the machine of Ian Pittman, the Subaru Impreza Type R. I didn't actually notice just then. I guess that means it's a coupe. It's a pretty rare beast. Shame to see it beached, really. Okay, the red flag then has come out to recover Ian Pittman's machine. So, you know, I was just musing whether it's a two-door or we'll probably get ample opportunity to inspect this as the track action is halted while we recover that machine. It's just beached itself on the outside of Clark Curve, a place where it's not unlikely another car will come off. So of course what that means is this potential future accident must be neutralized right now. So the race, the action is halted while the stricken car of Ian Pittman is recovered. This number 81 Subaru Impreza Type R. Hopefully there won't be too much of a difficult problem to solve. You can see the flatbed already hot shoeing it out onto the track. See Andrew Barber's team then working on the car. It's great to hear from him earlier today. He's a guy who says it how it is. And yeah, 12 hours of travel each way to do some laps. That's real dedication, so big respect there to Andrew Barber. Here we go then. I believe this could be Paul Wright in the number 68 machine. Yep, the Subaru Impreza P1, another rare Subaru Impreza variant. So you can't say we don't treat you good here at Time Attack. All of the juicy petrol head little nuggets are present and accounted for. We got the Impreza Type R, we got the Impreza P1, and of course, let's not forget all of the other weird and wonderful cars that we have here. Actually, I can see Darren Spooner's machine is stranded as well. So we have two cars to recover. Darren Spooner on the outside of Paddock Hill, so presumably perhaps some kind of brake failure or something like that. He's just not turned, but also hasn't really got into the gravel yet. So interesting to see what happened there to Darren Spooner. And we can also see the machine then of Ian Pittman being dug out of the gravel. Two cars in pretty precarious places of the track. So really we do need to wait for them to be recovered. You can see Darren Spooner's machine there. Just being pulled out by the recovery truck. You can see that Ian Pittman's Impreza Type R in its two-door coupe glory. Hopefully, perhaps some people at home might be watching this and thinking, oh, I didn't know they did the Impreza coupe. Well, there you go. You've got one right on your screen here. So not only is Time Attack entertaining, it's also educational. There you go. They did do a Type R coupe Impreza. And in fact, we've got one right in our paddock with us today. So now we need to wait for these two cars to be recovered. Darren Spooner's machine then just being towed counterclockwise, which would be anyone to do apart from the recovery staff. Hopefully the only time Darren Spooner's machine will be traveling in that direction. But there you go, that is now safe and off the track. What's left now is Ian Pittman's Impreza Type R. Seems like it might be able to move under its own power. There we go. So hopefully that'll be running and off the track shortly. And it looks like we might have another interview. Susie, what have you got for us?
Yeah, just sorry, while all the pro cars are sitting around, can you just give us your name and tell us what car you're driving?
Yeah, so it's Steve Wilkinson. I'm in the Clio RS.
And this isn't your first time at Time Attack, is it?
No, I've been coming for 10 years. Johnny Fletcher's been kind of, I say helping spanner his car. It's more clean it and wipe up his mess. And then a couple of years ago, decided to try Run What You Brung. After the last year or so with COVID and everything, I just thought if I'm going to do it, why not now? So full season entry in Pocket Rocket.
Excellent. So, and what would you say to anyone who's thinking about doing Time Attack for a year?
The Run What You Brung was amazing. Really, I mean, everybody says it's the friendliest paddock you could possibly imagine. Everybody comes in, they give you support, they give you help, they give you advice, and it's a really, it's competition without there being competition there. And then if people want to take that step up, it's freely available to do it. So, you know, it was a springboard for me. It's 100% worth doing if they wanted to.
Excellent. And were you driving the Clio last year in Run What You Brung?
I've always had the Clio, so I've had the car for 3 years, bought it as a little bit of a weekend toy, and then as they always do, it starts off with seats, and next thing you know, it's a stripped out car with caged and harnessed, and just literally drives to a racetrack, drives around it, and drives home and sits on the drive.
And how's it been today?
Really good, actually. So I did a lot of work over the winter. I was here last year, and I had a target to get myself to a minute flat. I think I've managed to do that. Well, I've managed to do a minute flat today, so a lot of improvement over the winter, so I'm happy.
Excellent. So you've had a good day. You recommend it to anyone?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Just a bit of a hairy moment there, as you could see Phil Reed making his way around the car of I believe that was Jeff Kershaw in the Ford Focus. Turbo Technics machine. So Phil Reed then just switching on those lightning reflexes and managing to avoid any kind of incident. You do wonder in hindsight, you just think, how do these cars find themselves in this, how do they place themselves in this position? Luckily, everyone came out of that unscathed. And again, you know, this awareness and this navigation of the traffic around you is a really key part of the skill in time attack. Broadly speaking, we don't really have any contact. It's a strictly non-contact sport. It does happen from time to time. I think most recently was perhaps in 2019 or so, but generally these drivers are great at avoiding each other while setting their quick laps. And actually, just despite that little run-in with Jeff Kershaw, we can see Phil Reed did briefly go fastest whilst on such a dodging, escape maneuvering lap. However, not quite fast enough to extract the full pace from that Nismo GT3, as actually we can see the machine of Andy Hughes, the X-Shift Subaru Impreza, goes fastest of all. There we go, Phil Reed then displaces him back down to second place. Phil Reed with that real statement of intent saying, no, I am the quickest, what are you doing, man? And there you go, claiming his first place back with a 48.8. And of course, for those of you who do track driving, as I'm sure many of you do, you will know that under a minute at Brands Hatch is a respectable time. You know, if you did a 55 or a 56, you'd be pretty happy with that. This is a whole, 10 seconds quicker than what would be good at Brands Hatch. This GT3 car is just next level, and it's got a lot more pace in it still, as we've seen from the days running. But with 1.5 minutes remaining, it will be interesting to see whether he will be able to extract every single picogram of speed from this machine. Believe me, there are many, as we can actually see a car has just come off going onto the outside of Graham Hill Bend onto the Cooper Straight. That was some kind of white car. Perhaps there was a Subaru Impreza. The cameras didn't catch that, so I didn't get a great look. But seems to have been without any drama. And Graham Hill Bend, really an easy one to get a little bit messy coming out of, just because it is downhill, and your car is just so front-loaded with that forward gravity and under braking. So really under braking into Graham Hill, and of course, as you counter steer and the car regrips, it then pulls you in a direction where you don't necessarily want to be going. So it's easily done on the outside of Graham Hill. Let's see then, in the final remaining seconds, Phil Reed retains his first place, looking set for a provisional win ahead through Impreza. Then we have Paul Doyle in the Subaru Impreza P1 doing very well with a 50.3, third fastest overall and second in Pro Extreme. That's in the BC Racing Impreza Classic chassis. Checkered flag is out. So those on their flying lap have mere seconds left to try to put in their final lap time. You can see the cool down light then flashing. And it looks like that rounds up today's running in time attack, at least in our club and our pro sessions. Mick Porter there coming across the line in the R32 chassis Nissan Skyline GTR. Let's just take a look then at our running order. We have Phil Reed fastest of all with a 48.8 in the Nismo GT3. Then we have Andy Hughes from Andrew Barber, from Paul Doyle, from Matt Newing. Those are our top 5. Currently we're looking at lap times of 50.3 and below. I believe we might have somebody in the pit lane. Susie, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm just quickly grabbing a bit of time with Ian Pittman. So yes, the final session didn't go quite as well as planned.
The whole day's been a bit of a nightmare, but the only good thing is we think we've actually got to the problem of the mechanical bit. Now we just need to employ a better driver.
Okay, so tell us what happened.
Just head not in the game. So many frustrations, cold tyres, tried to get a lap in because I didn't know where we were and how long was left in the session, and just left it on the final corner there, too early on the power, and it just spun round. And
You've been having a few issues all day.
yeah, we've been chasing electrical gremlins all day. Finally found it, so was just getting some temperatures and just too eager, so my fault, but hopefully back tomorrow once we...
Is the car okay then?
It's gravel rashed, and it's got about a ton of gravel in it, but hopefully once we assess it, everything else is all right, so...
Driver okay?
Oh, hi. It's the fun of the game, so I can't complain.
So you'll be back out tomorrow then anyway. Now you found your electrical gremlins, hopefully cure your problems.
Too right, we'll do our best. As I say, there's many hours till tomorrow morning, so we'll go for it.
Excellent, we hope to see you back out on track tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. I mean, Ian, that is easily done, my friend, and especially if you've had problems all day and this was your first real, attack in anger, then I think it's easily done. So I wouldn't judge yourself too hard for that. Thank you, everyone, for driving, for watching, for supporting, for filming, all that good stuff. That does round up our time attack coverage for today. We will be back tomorrow, of course, as you know, as part of the Brands Hatch doubleheader. Tomorrow we are returning as part of the Tuna Fest South show. But for now, from the commentary box, from me, Alexi Wood, and from my dear colleague, Susie Wallace, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.